Today I am making a video on how to make soap flowers with a cutter and impression mat. Now I do have a video on this with the poinsettias I did a number of years ago. Basically the same concept. I'm just doing regular flowers, not poinsettias. So it's a pretty easy to do, just laborious to do. So I have this cutter set and impression mat from Blossom Cutter or something. I forget the actual name of the company. The company is no longer in existence. So you can't actually get this piece with the smaller piece anymore. They were bought out by another company, but I just haven't ever seen these in stock, so I really don't know how well they're actually still selling them. Amazon sells this knockoff, and I will provide a link. They only sell the big cutter. You don't get the small cutter. So if you wanted to make flowers like the poinsettias or double layered, you're going to need a smaller cutter. If you're going to need to find a smaller cutter. Show you some I've made. So these are just plain, you know, just the regular, and then that's the small, and you can put the small on top of the large to create a double flower. I'll show you how to do that. I've also found some places on Etsy. Polymer clay is one place that sells something pretty similar in shape with multiple sizes as this. I did not buy it because I obviously already own a set, but I did get this other one, and these are the impression mats. So it's not like an attached piece, it's two separate pieces. I'm really curious to see how the flower creates with this one. And these are also 3D printed cutters, not metal cutters. Some people say they don't work for them. I never seem to have any problems. I think partly it depends on the complexity of the cutter and partly on your soap dough. So I've just cut out the large one, and basically I set it in there, and then I'm gonna place that on top and just gently go like circle around the edges to impression it. And then take it out. That's kind of cool. This is the difference between the two designs. Now, let's try the smaller cutter. For the smaller cutters, I have, these are just clay tools. This is the one with this flat edge that I use to just gently help push out the designs. You can also, if you wanted to, lay plastic wrap over it and cookie cutter that way so it doesn't stick to the cutter. I don't generally have a problem with the pieces sticking too much to the cutter, so I usually just cut right, like just cutter on soap, because I think it's cleaner and easier. So I just centered that, pressed the top on, and there's a small one. Now we can take this, we could line them up like that, and I made soap pearls. So you can see I have 3 different tones of plum on here, and I have 4 different tones of plum soap balls that I made. These are the same family, so I want a different one. So I'm either going to do slightly lighter or the really light. I have a video on, oh that's pretty, how to make soap pearls. I will link it here, but I made it a few weeks ago, so it is a new video that you can definitely go back and check out if you don't know how to make soap pearls and you want to learn how. Okay, so if I want to assemble these pieces, I just take a little distilled water, paint that in, gently push that in, take another little drop of distilled water that I will put in the center. Then I'm going to take one of my pearls and drop that in, and look at those gorgeous flowers. I really like those. I like this new cutter. They're different. So this one, I'll show you what that looks like. You can compare the two. Now you don't have to layer the flowers. You could just do the flower right on its own. You don't have to put soap pearls in the flowers. You can just impression mat the flowers and have just a single flower with no pearl. There's not a right or wrong way to do this. It's however you want to create your flowers, then go for it. Do it that way. So I've just cut a couple pieces out. Sorry. Let me shift this up so I'm on screen. So I have these cut. I'm just going to line them up with this one. Now you can put plastic wrap between these pieces and put the, impression the flower that way. So you could leave a flower just like this. If you wanted to, you could have just the flower and just a pearl. You don't have to double layer, right? So tab is distilled water. Just gonna take a pearl, drop that in. There you go. I don't generally put plastic wrap between my flowers when I'm doing this unless they're sticking. Like if it's sticking to this when I'm trying to pull it off, then I will use some plastic wrap in between, and then it won't stick. Like you won't have any issues. So there's the small one. But you don't have to. Like I said, it really depends on your soap dough. Okay, so I could take my small one, dab of water, add a pearl, and I could have large and small, right? I could also line these up. So put a little bit of water in there, add that one, add a dab, place a pearl, and now you have a double layer flower, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can create these flowers. And I really like that there's a lot of versatility to what you can do with these. Like I said, if you want, you don't even have to have pearls. You can just cookie cut a flower and there you go. So depending on how complicated you want to get will kind of depend on how much time it's going to take you to make these. I am really liking this new cutter and mat. Like, I just like the pattern. It's different, I guess, from what I'm always making. So maybe that's why it has me so enthralled, but I'm really quite liking that. So again, I just cut those two pieces out, line it up, line this one up, and then I just gently basically go around, right? And gently press. You don't want to press too hard, but you want to press hard enough that you get the impression, the flower impression, and like the details of from the mold, the stamp, or whatever you want to call this. It's a little bit harder with the smaller ones. So put that there. Now you can, you could line these flower up off center like I did, or you could center them. Depending on my mood, I do both. They give it kind of each a unique look. So there are those. I really like these. So if you want to compare, but yeah, that's how you do it. It's not hard. You can do any sort of color combination of flowers. You can, like, I can cookie cutter this, and then I'll cookie cutter this one. These are two colors in the same family, just darker plums. Right? Let me stamp this. Stamp this one. Now I can attach the color. So that's where I line them up, so see how the flower petals line up versus them being slightly diagonal. And then I will add a little soap pearl from over here, if I can get one out. And now we have alternating colors, right? So lots of different possibilities. I really love these flowers. I don't make them all the time because they are a lot of work. Like, you have to prep your dough, you have to roll out your dough to get it thin, then you cookie cutter it, then you impression mat it, then you assemble it. It's a lot of work. But when I get in a flower making mode, I tend to make tons of flowers. I've made pink, I've made white, I've made yellow, I've made blue. Now I have these plum ones. So a lot of my soaps this spring, summer include flowers in them. And I said, and then I'll get tired of making them because they are a lot of work, and then I won't make them for a while. And then I'll be like, oh, I haven't made these in a while. I need flowers. And then I go on a little crazy spree again. But yeah, so there you have it. That is how to make soap flowers. I will provide links in the description for this cookie cutter from the Amazon knockoff of this one, as well as how to make soap pearls. So if you didn't catch that video, you can go back and catch that. And hopefully this was helpful. And I hope you have fun making some flowers.